There have been countless excellent documentaries on the fascinating honeybee. It's time to take a closer look at another fascinating species, the keepers.
My wife brought home a book from the library on bees, and she was just reading to me about the different bees. And I didn't, at that time, I didn't know the difference between a wasp or a bee. I became so interested, I started reading myself. It's so much more than honey.
Mark is always full of good ideas. One day he said, why don't we go to a bee meeting? And I said, sure. Every time I turn around, we have more beehives and more stuff. With the passion grows the number of bees.
We ended up working at a 50-acre produce farm in Salmon Arm. Our boss came up to us. He asked if we wanted all the equipment for one beehive. No bees, but Bill went to the library the next day and got out all these books on beekeeping, and by the end of the week, he walked up to me and said, honey, we're going to be beekeepers.
So we bought a bunch of old equipment from an old guy.
And not long after that, the bees became...
The bees arrived.
Curiosity to start with. I worked with a German chap who kept bees, and I asked him too many questions, so finally he told me to go take a course and get some bees. And that's what I did, and here I am.
We started out with 2 beehives, and we had a chance to buy 60 more, and we did, and then we bought 150 more, so we got up to about 500 beehives.
Best day I ever had was catching a swarm when I was 3.5 months pregnant, and just no bee suit and balancing a piano stool on top of a 50-gallon drum. I just fell in love with it because, I put 11 pounds of bees into the trunk of my car and drove home. And it was actually quite funny driving down the road and looking in the rearview mirror, and you could actually see the bees escaping through the windows and going zing, zing, zing on either side. I have very fond memories of that.
Well, we'd been trying to get Ted, the bee inspector, to come around, and a swarm had developed. I was standing there wondering what to do. Ted showed up, and he hits the brakes, and he gets out of his truck, and he comes over, and he says, you've got a swarm, and his eye picked up, he said, there's the queen. And he just came running over, and he sort of picked her out of the air. And he said, get a box, get a cardboard box. And so, and hurry up. The whole thing took about 45 minutes to an hour, and then Ted got in his old truck and said, if you have any problems, give me a call. You couldn't make that up.
It was the very first call that I'd ever had for a swarm, and it was out in Westwold near our bee yard. And so I went out there to capture the swarm, and when I arrived, It was way up in a tree. It was probably 12 feet off the ground. I had a box up there, and I shook it into the box, but you know, I'm precariously perched. Bees are supposed to be passive when they're swarming, but these ones weren't. And so they're going up underneath my shirt and down inside my pants. So I dropped my jeans to the ground, and here's
Just as
this
a farmer
poor
comes
farmer
out
I
of
just
it.
met in.
So many times I've had people question me. It's like, oh, well, you're a beekeeper. Well, what do you do for a living? You know. It's like, well, do you just do the bee thing or do you work? And I looked at her, I said, actually, the bees are quite a bit of work, I said. So driving all night and then working them the next day. And by the time that's done, you look and you're shaking and there's energy drinks and coffee cups all over your truck. I think of that 36-hour shift I pulled, and it's like, well, if that ain't work, I don't know what is.
You know, you're your own boss. You go to a bee yard when you want, more or less, and you come home when you want, you quit when you want.
And I think in a way, as a culture, the beekeeping thing supersedes all the other aspects of the people that are, you know, whether they're right wing, left wing, Catholic, Baptist, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares about any of that stuff. You're just keeping bees.
Yeah, no, it's all about
that
bees.
stuff. Exactly, it's all
Yeah,
about
it's the bees, right? You're all connected by the bees, by these tiny little creatures that are doing what mankind should be doing.
No.
You know, really, they are. They're working. We're working together for the benefit not as of the individuals, but of the whole colony.
That's one of the reasons that I keep bees, is because you have to be totally calm.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I guess like the zen of beekeeping. You have to be so calm. And I'm not that patient a person normally, and I'm not that calm normally. So I find it really, like when I'm finished working on the bees, like I'm high. I'm calm and mellow, and just you know, it's fabulous.
But for hobby beekeepers, I think it becomes kind of a love affair with the bees. They just kind of own you, and I don't know. I wake up thinking about bees. I think about them all day, and I go to sleep thinking about them, and it's just so. It's all encompassing.
You can feel the warmth emanating, almost like from a dog or a cat or some other mammal. Yes. And it's not just a bunch of insects. You can feel the warmth that they're generating through their bodies. And that was very cool.
It's a pretty nice hobby.
Yeah.
It's not hard. It's not scary.
No.
It's not something that takes a lot of your time.
Get to know a beekeeper and ask them to take you out a few times, try it, see if you're comfortable with it, and then just move forward.
If you have enough energy to do what you have to do, then usually you can make a good living at beekeeping.
Take a course and join a club.
I can't think of a better day than beekeeping. I think every day beekeeping is a great day.
Every day out there's been, it's just so awesome.
It's almost like every day is good.
So I don't think I can say I've had a favorite day, but every year you have wonderful experiences.